All right, so you full-time mutation creation. Now, while you're working at Billy's, are you masterminding your own collection at home?
100%.
Yes, let's talk about that. So, boom, you got your feet in the door, mutation creation. Now, look what's happening with Austin. What's happening with Royal Highness's pythons while this is going on over at Billy's?
I'm just trying to learn a lot from Billy. He's taught me a lot about investing, what to invest in, and he's really pushed my mind into like the future and like not looking for like making stuff now, maybe making ingredients for the future. So right now I'm looking to make a lot of double heads and visual heads. I'm dove really deep into the Ultramel Clown project. I really like Ultramel. I used to hate it. I used to think it was the ugliest thing. I used to think it looked like a banana until I started seeing in other combos, and then it really blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then I seen the leopard pastel Ultramel Clown, and I was taken away. I really wanted to make that snake, so I have a crap ton of double heads coming, and Krypton head Ultramels coming. So it's gonna be really cool.
All right, that's sweet. How many snakes are you at right now? Excuse me, how many snakes are you at right now?
Breeder females, I have around 75.
Oh man, you're sitting nice.
Yeah.
So how many clutches are you producing a year?
Last year I had about 53 breeder females. I hit 50 clutches.
50 out of 50 out of 53.
I have very good odds with my clutches. The year before, I think I had 41 out of 44, and then it's pretty like.
Dude, that's so sick. That honestly, that makes me happy because I didn't have a a good season, but like I would have loved. I was trying to break 20 last year, right? And I got 13, which like
that's amazing. It's very close.
Oh yeah, it's still a lot better than what I did the year before. That's all I care about. I just want to
as long as you're progressing. That's all.
Yeah. And then, I had people that just made me feel good because they're just like, yeah, man, hey, 70%, anything above 70 is good. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do feel better. But then I'm like, come on, there's got to be motherfuckers that are just nailing it. And then, so I'm glad that, look, because at the end of the day, like, I'm cool that I hit 70, but I'm not settling for 70. I want to hit as close to 100 as possible. So what is it that you think that's helping you out? I mean, or do you just feel like your females are just fucking on point? Like, what do you think?
I think it's all a mindset. I think like if you really like believe and like I express gratitude to my snakes. I tell them I love them. I'm a firm believer in this. I even showed Billy this. We had like sometimes I have snakes that do not eat, and I tell them I love them. Before I feed them, they'll eat after.
This is wild.
Vibrations, right? So I'm just trying to send positive vibes to the snakes. And that's what I do when they're breeding. I tell them as I'm putting the male in, I'm thanking them for the clutch they're going to give me. I'm telling them I love them. It's a lot of positive thinking and just a lot of it's a system, and then just put your positive mindset into it and just look for the future. And 9 out of 10 times you'll see the positive outcome.
Dude, you remind me of the Brian Cusco of Canada. Like I just feel like, I don't know. That's like a loving thing that just Brian, I'm sure Brian does that to his animals. And,
of course. I have a really good feeling that he does that.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than I do.
That's honestly, man. And dude, that's the mindset. If you know that you're doing your best and you're like, hey man, like, you're giving them pep talks, you know what I mean? And it's like, because you got to understand, I'm sure people just go, oh, it's a snake. And I'm pretty sure that negativity affects like what their project, or like what their season's going to be like, you know what I mean? But if you're the coach and you're in there and you're like, yo, let's go. You okay, mamas? I love you so much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to try that, bro. Call me fucking crazy. I ain't going to ever put stories of me doing it, but I'm doing it.
I read a thing up on a Baxter effect. It's called plant perception. And if you talk to a plant positively, it'll grow better.
I know that.
So imagine humans and animals. So I just apply the exact same thing to animals. And I try doing it to people. So,
dude, if a plant can listen, why the fuck can't a snake listen?
Your dog, your wife, your kids.
Dogs, I believe. See, dog. Yeah, yeah, dude. It's we're literally just cutting out what we could really do for animals by not talking to them. That's nuts. Like, people, I'm not gonna get roasted for this. I'm sure there's fucking somebody who are just like, what? Like, but I don't get. I'm gonna try it. You know why? Because I'm not going 50 for 50. I'm not going. You know what I mean? So if you know what I mean, what's it gonna hurt? I don't give a fuck. My wife likes talking sweet to him all the time. So I'm just gonna support her, and we'll just talk sweet together.
100%.
Yeah.
it's just positivity, and like it even like will change like your outlook on everything. Because if you're just always talking positive, that negative that people like to spew sometimes, it's just gonna eliminate from your life.
Oh my God, this is so moving, bro. Wow. This is nuts. I like it. Cool. So let me ask you this. For somebody who's more of a tough love kind of guy, do you feel like I should just chill out on the females when it comes to tough love, or do you feel like I could give them some tough love too?
The snakes are like the actual females.
No, the snakes. No, I already know that. I already know that part. Yeah, I cuddle my. Come
I
on,
hope
bro.
so. I hope so, man.
Ain't no tough love with my wife. She'll fucking Jesus, like she'll shut that down, bro. Yeah, I gotta be the sweetest MJ as possible with that. But I'm just talking about, you know what I mean? Like I do like, you know, I always said I'd be a tough coach because like I know what people are capable of and they just limit themselves, right? So
100%. But
and I
feel like when people limit themselves, that's their problem. Like if you want to put a limitation and excuse on something that you're not doing, like I would like to push you there, but there's only so many times I can repeat myself to push you in that right direction before they actually step in. Somebody has to want to change themselves, right? So if I'm pushing you in a direction and you don't want to do it, and you just, I say like just push yourself in that direction.
Because I mean, somebody else can only do so much for you, right? Like at the end of the day, it's kind of like having somebody like who wants to change, but then like nobody else can make you change but yourself. Like, you know that, right? Like, but people don't change until they realize that. Like they realize that it's up to them. It's not like, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, it's who I'm hanging out with. Well, yeah, that has something to do with it, but you're the one hanging out with them. You know what I mean? Like it's you, you know what I mean? So a lot of people just hate to just take ownership of their own shit. You know what I mean? And once you start taking ownership of your own shit, your life just gets better. Like it really does.
You stop making excuses for yourself and watch how well everything just clicks together.
Yeah, man.
You will have bad days still, and like there's things out of your control that will happen. The only thing is you have to look past it, look for a solution, and just always try to just find that little thing that'll make you happy and just continue in this hobby or even in anything in life. I'm gonna both right now.
Let's talk about like the kind of obstacles that, because at the end of the day, like let's be honest, like you starting in the beginning, like even working with Billy, you were probably overwhelmed at some points, right? Like there had to be probably sometimes like you not really knowing what you wanted to work with because there's so much shit, or did you kind of already dial in what the fuck you wanted to do from the beginning?
I was kind of scattered a lot before I went to Billy's, my collection. I already knew about the males and females. A lot of like new people, they have like a lot of males in their collection. Like I like to keep it like one male for like 3 females at least, maybe 4 or 5, depending how big the male is. But like a first year breeder male, I'm putting him to 1 or 2 females. And I just don't like to have too many males because it's a rack space. And I just rather have that rack space for females growing up. So when I do transition to females, I can sell them. And that's what I ended up doing basically when I worked in mutation creation. I focused heavily on Pied and Clown. And I had to sell a lot of things off at first and just really like focus my collection, because Billy's collection he has a pretty broad collection, but he has a really big size collection. He has a lot of different customers who want a lot of different stuff. So seeing that, and then at first I thought my collection was at a good point, but then seeing Billy and hearing him talk to me and hearing how he like goes and like mentors people, like even customers, someone buying their first snake, and he's telling them, don't buy this snake. It's not like built for that project you want to make, you know? You have to go this way. And like I looked at my collection, and that it really like my collection did like a 180 flip. Like it was a big turn. I still had a lot of good stuff, but a lot of the stuff I had for like I first bought, like a lot of spider stuff I had to get rid of, a lot of lesser stuff.
Me, bro. Oh my God, dude. In the beginning, I didn't know. I talk about this a lot, but like in the beginning, I was a visual buyer. Like I would see something and I'd be like, whoa, well, how much does what does this typically go for? And I would type it up on Google and see like, wow, that's like $400 and it's on Craigslist for $100. So like I was just buying shit like that, which I always say, don't go that route ever. But I just was ignorant. I had no idea. And I didn't have any snake friends. Like I had to start this on my own basically. But I didn't know there was a codom and recessive. I didn't even know what the fuck a word codom. It's just, I'm embarrassed about this, but I was 30-something years old and I was like, what the fuck's a codom? What does that even mean? Like, you know what I mean? What's a recessive? And that's when I was like, oh, like my mind just switched to like the science of shit. But it made me want to learn. Like, bro, I was stubborn with what I wanted to learn my whole life. I only learned what I want to learn. And this game right here, the snake game, like you can't fake, like you can only fake knowing what you know for so long, but like really it affects your animals if you don't have the knowledge behind what you're doing, and it affects your collection, and then it ends up showing like, what does this guy even know what he's doing? You know what I mean? So that being said, I this was like, it's kind of how you said in the school, you're like, well, I don't give a fuck about math or anything. Like I'm more concerned about what I want to do with my future, which is the snakes. You know what I mean? And but it's crazy how this kind of game, no matter what age you're at and you come into it, it matures the shit out of you. Like, yeah, it puts you on a different vibe. You know what I mean? And it should, like, you don't like this. Like even the people who, you know, one thing I respect the shit out of Billy all the time is like, he doesn't own that he never acts like he knows everything. Like he will never act like fucking I'm Mr. Know-it-all. You know what I mean? Like he always kind of takes credit that he's still learning too. Like this motherfucker's always climbing a ladder. You know what I mean? And like the Will Morrows, you know what I mean? Like always climbing ladders. Will's been in the game for 10 plus years, always climbing ladders.
It never stops.
Never stops. And that's why, like, my heart, like, honestly, not to be a bitch or anything, but seeing people like Will and seeing people like Billy, wow.
Will Morose, Billy Rose.
Wow. the mixtape. Those sound like the fucking two up and coming rappers. Like
really, yeah.
That's Billy. Anyways, but those two motherfuckers were why I'd sit back and I was like, man, I really want to make a name in this game, right? But there's people who are on this in a different professional level. Like there's professionalism. It's not just like, I'm going to gather some really good looking snakes and I want to fucking be a superstar. No, motherfucker. There's so many avenues to what this takes to be something in this game, you know, and it's a lot more than just having nice snakes. It's like what to do. It's what to do with those nice snakes. It's longevity. Like how long are you in this game with these nice snakes? And these guys, you know, like Will and like Billy, are just fucking, they have that rap. They have that history of just fucking just consistency of coming out with fire, like JKRs. I mean, there's a list. I'm not trying to just fucking give reach arounds to Will and Billy, but I'm just saying those are really two solid examples. You know what I mean? Like really two solid examples. So, but yeah, man. And I think what's awesome is like somebody like you to be partnered up with Billy, because I feel like even if you didn't have Billy, you would figure out, like you obviously already have this passion. Like I feel like Billy was just like more fucking fuel to whatever fire you've already started, right? So, but I feel like by him coming, like you guys coming together, you're obviously on a lot faster pace than what you would have been. But dude, with what you got going on in here, you know what I mean? Like that's definitely what the hobby needs. Like you're another Will, you're gonna be another Billy, like, you know, just King Austin version. You know what I mean? You're gonna